What's up, chess player? To become a good player, you need to learn from the best, so today I'm gonna show you the game from a Bobby Fischer to show you how you can apply all of those principles I teach you in every one of my videos in a real practical game, and of course Bobby does it in style, so that's gonna be an incredible experience for you. Let's get started. Bobby played as black here against Gudmundsson, a very difficult surname for me to pronounce. The game started with the Greenfield defense, e3, g6, c4, bishop to g7, and yeah, of course you can take here on t5, but that is also a legitimate continuation. Queen to b3, trying to put even more pressure in the center. Just e6, protecting the pawn. Notice that, yeah, black's center is very solid. Now bishop to e2 and knight to c6. Well, first of all, the principles that I always teach you to develop all of your pieces as fast as possible. Notice that Fischer is spending just one tempo on each piece. That is exactly what you should do. And also, not only knight c6 is developing the knight, it creates a threat for the opponent, which is knight to a5 with a double attack, and then you lose a pair of bishops. So that, of course, wouldn't be a good case scenario for white. That's why white played queen to c2. But that is the second move with the same piece in the opening, which is exactly what we should try to avoid. That is why it gives black a little bit of time, and the time is the most important thing in chess. So takes. Now you could see that there is a second move that has been played by the same piece, and you could, if you count the number of developed pieces, you could see that it's pretty much the same, but black has already made the castle, so the king is secure. Once your king is secure, you can start active actions in the center, so that is why black played e5. Even though you don't have enough defenders for this pawn, the idea is that if you take, and that has been played by white, knight to g4 is now possible, and you have 3 attackers against 1. There is a move e6, and probably that is the best move. For some reason, white didn't play it, instead preferring the castles, and now knight c takes e5, and black has literally no problems at all afterwards. In fact, I would even prefer white a little bit, because now after the move c6 you could see that only this bishop needs to be developed. There is a chance to develop it with a tempo, and this bishop has, yeah, no real prospects. You need to make another move to open it up somehow, so you can say that black has a little bit of an upper hand in terms of the development, definitely no weaknesses, so that is your goal if you are talking about the opening as black. f4 has been played. White is trying to be active, and that is the best move in the position, still trying to, you know, create some threats, not be behind, because you don't want to lose that initiative as white. But the problem is that, of course, creates some weaknesses in your camp, so it's a very double-edged decision. Let's see how Fischer uses that. He plays knight g4. Of course, you never want to go back. Just remember that. If possible, you always try to go forward. In fact, if you analyze the games of Bobby Fischer, almost never you're gonna find some moves back. And that is something we all need to learn from Bobby. You should always start with the most active moves. And only if there is no chance to go forward, if there is no chance to create a threat for your opponent, only then you consider the moves backwards. So, knight g4, h3, attacking the knight, and now it seems like you need to go back, but we are talking about Bobby Fischer. He's never gonna go back, so try to stop the video for a second and find the best move for black here. Okay, I hope you have found it, and you can play like a Bobby Fischer for at least one move here, bishop to f5, attacking the queen. But of course it's just the first move, and you need to calculate further, because white played e4, and if you don't know what to do next, then you're just losing a piece. So hopefully you have found queen to d4, check 2. Now the only move for white is king to h1. Still, both pieces are hanging, so you need to continue. Knight to f2 has been played. Now it's a check, but at the same time it's attacking the e4 pawn, so you, as white, you absolutely must take it. So yeah, just king h2, knight takes e4, and of course the game is over. So white took the knight, then the bishop, and you might say, okay, but white has now 2 pieces for the rook. Isn't that better? I'm always saying in my videos that 2 minor pieces are stronger than the rook, and that is right. But I'm also saying in my videos that the development is the most important thing in chess. And look at those pieces. Who cares if you have some extra material if you don't use it? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's like having Messi in your football team who is sitting on the bench and never participates in the game. Here it's the same. Black doesn't really allow white to develop those pieces. He plays bishop takes c3 immediately here because it's so important to remove this defender. And now after rook a to e8, the bishop is hanging and you have no way to defend it. And if you don't defend it, you must move it, but then you allow this rook to penetrate. And that is exactly what Fischer needed. King goes to h2, another check, king to g3, and the last piece comes into the game. Very, very important. Doesn't matter whether you have some material up or down, what is the situation. It's always great to bring as many pieces as possible, ideally every one of your pieces into the game. Only then you have the optimal condition to just destroy your opponent. So now a lot of checks are threatening there, and rook to b1 has been played, which is a final mistake here. So pause the video for a second once again. Very instructive moment. Try to find the best move for black. Okay, I hope you have managed to do that. The right move is not rook to e3, this one or this one, as it might seem, because in that case, well, you're just given an exchange. Now white has an extra bishop, and after king to g4, you don't really have any good follow-up. Queen to h2 runs into queen f2, and you don't really win this game. So instead, the right move here is g takes f. And the point is, you're opening up this g file, so that after bishop takes f5, let's say, you have here the move rook to e2, you're attacking the queen and the pawn, and then you're going to the g file. And if white is doing something passive here, it's then difficult to make a passive move. But the point is, you can go to h8 and then rook g8, check, and then you're just destroying white's camp completely. So bishop to d2 has been played, trying to exchange a lot of pieces. If you have an extra material, and your opponent is trying to give a checkmate to you, what is the best thing for you to do? Of course, to exchange as many pieces as possible to just get ideally into the endgame when you have two bishops against the rook. That would be completely devastating, just winning for you. But there is one little thing. Try to calculate this position, what is the best move, how to win the game as black. It's not like there is only one winning move here, but there is a simplest one, the one that every human should play, because, well, you're not computer, at least I hope so. So a human being would always play rook takes b1, takes, and then the final very important move that white have missed here, rook to e2. And the bishop is so clumsy, it has no moves to go. The only one where you don't lose it immediately is bishop to c1, but then you play rook a1 and you win one of the bishops, and of course the game. So here you have it. Seemingly, white didn't really make any mistakes, still was destroyed very fast by Bobby Fischer here. And if you enjoyed this game, in this one I'm showing you another absolutely amazing game by Bobby, where he played another world chess champion, Tigran Petrosyan, and they had 4 queens on the board. Absolutely amazing, definitely take a look at it.